Fox 2 presents Hancock and Kelley.
Good Sunday morning to you. Welcome to Hancock and Kelley on Fox 2, where we take on the top issues of the week. On the right, John Hancock.
Top of the morning.
On the left, Michael Kelley.
Good morning.
Now, I'm Andy Banker. On the agenda, the Missouri Secretary of State yanks the Amendment 3 abortion rights measure from the November ballot, but the Missouri Supreme Court puts it right back on. The ads have started flying in the campaign over legalizing sports betting in Missouri. It's really heating up now. We just had an ad coming into the show here. Former First Lady Melania Trump says there's got to be more to the story of the attempted assassination of her husband, the former president. And in our quote of the week, outrage over a mural from a St. Louis graffiti festival showing a masked Palestinian holding a rocket-propelled grenade. Is it art or anti-Semitism? Also, huge concerns about the Postal Service, especially with election ballots now hitting the mail. But we begin with that abortion rights measure in Missouri. Taken off the ballot by the Republican Secretary of State one day, then reinstated by the Missouri Supreme Court the next.
The Supreme Court has rightfully ensured Missourians will have the opportunity to enshrine protections for reproductive freedom in our Constitution on November 5th. Missourians overwhelmingly support the right to make personal decisions about abortion, birth control, and miscarriage care, free from government interference.
Missouri voters are being hoodwinked into what this amendment actually means. It's not just about abortion. It was all about circumventing Missouri law, getting rid of all the protections that we have fought for 50 years.
So more than 3,800 voters signed petitions to put this, or not 3,800, was it 380,000?
Yes.
Signed petitions to put this measure, Amendment 3, on the ballot, lifting Missouri's abortion ban. However, state law requires ballot initiatives to explicitly state any existing laws that would be repealed by an amendment's passage. Amendment 3 does not do that. John, still, the High Court put this measure back on the ballot. Is that a problem?
Well,
they're
not following the law, but they're the final say. They're the final arbiter. And the courts in Missouri historically have, if they err on the side of letting the people vote. And so you saw the same thing with the casino at the Lake of the Ozarks, where they got their signatures verified, they got put on the ballot. The court is almost always going to side with letting the people have their say, and that's what's happened here.
It sounds like that's what the court's saying. Let the people vote. If it doesn't end up being legal, we'll decide that later.
Yeah, and that's essentially what the court's done in the past. I've been involved in a couple of these where the court allows the election to go forward. It could likely be litigated later. I think this is going to be so overwhelmingly approved by the voters that I think the court's going to have a hard time then going back on the voters.
Is it a waste of time if it's only going to come back and be litigated later?
If you don't have respect,
you do it right the first time?
You should do it right the first time. If you don't have respect for the rule of law, that is a slippery slope. And, I'm not crazy about the courts making legislative decisions from the bench. They ought to be interpreting the law, applying the law as it relates to something like this. They didn't do that in this case. And I doubt if it's brought forth, if litigation is brought forth after the fact, I don't think the court's going to undo a vote of the people. That's not this court.
Well, the court took this up and issued a ruling on the same day of the deadline to print election ballots. Legal challenges to Amendment 2, which will allow voters to legalize sports gaming in Missouri, also failed, so it will be on the ballot. Voters will decide the issue in November. That measure allows the state to issue licenses to operate mobile sports betting apps to top pro sports teams like the Cardinals and Blues, to existing Missouri casinos, and sports wagering apps not currently in Missouri, namely FanDuel and DraftKings. Michael, there's now formal opposition to this, more than $4 million just in the last couple of days, flowing into a campaign to defeat Amendment 2. And it's not from anti-gambling people, it's from casinos.
Right. Well,
Why?
number one, this is this entire amendment and proposition question that we're having, where people are coming forth and then we have fights on both sides. This is a consequence of the legislature not being in tune with where Missourians are, their abortion rulings, not taking up internet gambling. All the states around us have it. Of course, this may stifle it. At the end of the day, when you have one industry being able to write the legislation they'd like, their competitors are going to come in and say, hey, wait a minute, what's going on? And I think that's what you have here is the casino industry, well established is dealing with the sporting industry, well established, and they both want to share the pie or keep the pie for themselves, and they're fighting over how the pie should be divided.
Right. We got FanDuel and DraftKings pumping in $10 million, more than that, to get this approved.
Right.
And now you got Harrah's, Tropicana,
Caesars, Isle of Capri.
going in more than 4, and the number keeps going higher.
And they're going
it.
Well, and they did the exact same thing in California, where they had the sports gaming thing, and the casinos came in and spent a ton of money, and the casinos won. And in Missouri, our history is if there's money expended on the no side of an initiative, that typically is sufficient to defeat it at the polls.
But doesn't this open up new revenue streams for existing casinos in Missouri? They can get the license. Why are they voting no?
Because they don't want Larry. They don't want Larry. They don't want Curly. They want Mo.
Well,
and that's what they're going after the money.
It's just get FanDuel and DraftKings, I guess.
Right, and there's also a question as to whether or not they'd be able to operate sports books inside their casinos, or if you would only be able to do this digitally. They want a piece of the pie as well. And look, this is a product of when you have a legislature that's down there doing nutty stuff, you have to come up with this stuff and get it funded. Of course, the people who fund it are going to do it in their best light.
Big fight, and it's only starting.
Yep.
We already had the first ad this morning. On
Good for Fox 2.
Yeah. Let's keep it going. We're a little more than 7 weeks away from Election Day, but mail-in ballots are already starting to go out, and Missouri's Republican members of Congress are among those sounding the alarm about ongoing Postal Service issues and the impact on the elections. They've written a letter to Postmaster General Louis DeJoy calling for an audit of the Hazelwood Distribution Center. They're also demanding a plan from the Postal Service to address mail-in absentee ballot issues in recent months. There's a problem during the primary season with votes that were postmarked on time during primary season, but they ended up arriving after the deadline to count them, John. Senator Eric Schmidt says mail-in voting is ripe for fraud.
Well, it's ripe for delay. The Postal Service has, not been stellar in recent years. And the problem is, political mail, like if you're Michael's sending out for his clients, you bag it up, the bulk mail, it gets the red tag on it, it gets priority service by the post office. They should do the same thing. They may do the same thing with mail-in ballots. But the bottom line is, if your postmark is legal, then the vote has to be counted, and the Postal Service has to do a better job of getting those things in timely. As a little message to our viewers out there, if you're going to vote by mail, I would get that sucker in as early as you can.
What about the claim that it's ripe for fraud? I mean, how do you verify who's actually casting the vote when you vote by mail?
That's not him talking rationally. That's him talking Trump. And that's just a Republican talking point, because ultimately, when Donald Trump loses this election, he's going to cry foul. He's going to do the same things he's done before. And so Eric Schmidt's carrying that tune. In terms of the need for the Postal Department to be get its little keister kicked and let's make sure that these election ballots happen on time, yes. And that's something that Eric Schmidt can play a role in. He's a United States Senator, and he can help adjust that.
And the thing about the absentee process, you've got to proactively request that ballot. Okay, you've got a unique ID, you've got your signature on file, you request the ballot, you get one ballot. It's sent to you, you then sign it and send it back in. One ballot. I think a lot of the fraud concerns of this are overblown. It's more of a timing issue.
Well, there's big news regarding our river economy, not in St. Louis, but about 35 miles south in Herculaneum. The Jefferson County Port Authority has purchased a 1-mile stretch of the Mississippi riverfront with loading, unloading facilities for barges already there. Most of the $20 million cost for that was covered by state funding. This step comes in conjunction with a $500 million plan near New Orleans to build a port for offloading shipping containers from cargo ships right onto these new style river-worthy container vessels to ferry products up the Mississippi as far north as that port in Herculaneum, perhaps leading to a major new shipping hub, Michael. Supporters say this wouldn't happen without the state government stepping up. Is that good government?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, this could potentially be the future, right? We allowed the railways to go through Chicago and we lost out of it. The river can't go anywhere else other than past us. So we as a state of Missouri, or even as a state of Illinois, investing, and with this new way of bringing stuff up the river, this is going to create jobs and opportunities in Missouri and Illinois, and that's a great thing.
How come Republicans are behind things like this, but not electric vehicles?
Let's mark the tape here. Michael Kelley praising the Missouri state government and the Republicans in charge for their forward thinking.
Blind squirrels get something right occasionally.
This is big business. These ports are big business. And you know, Missouri, there's so much here that we could benefit from economically. The rivers, people don't think about how much money goes up and down that river. It's incredible. And we've got the rivers, we've got the railways, we've got the roads, we've got the runways. The ability for this to be a distribution hub for the country has yet to be fully realized.
And it could tie into the airport, too. It could help business
Runways.
out there.
And those will be good union jobs down there, too.
There you go. Up next on Hancock and Kelley is the Trump-Harris presidential debate, already ancient political history. And former First Lady Melania Trump says something's fishy about the lack of information being shared 2 months after the attempt on her husband's life.